Okay, so how many times on social media did you ever feel the need to justify yourself for reading a book because you did not actually buy the paperback, but you bought maybe an ebook or listened to an audiobook? Or how many times have you seen posts on social media that claim only paperbacks are real books, or some even more higher level purists who say only hardbacks are real books? And someday I swear we're gonna see one of those people who say only hand sewn leather covered parchment pages books are real books, the rest all are fakes. I'm sure we'll get those. And if any of your experiences have been like mine, then I wholeheartedly sympathize with you. Also, I will tell you today in 5 points why ebooks or audiobooks are as valuable as dead tree bodies. And you will notice a theme here. Book purism, like a lot of other forms of supremacy, is very intricately intertwined with the idea of privilege. So the number one reason why all forms of reading is valid is finances. I am definitely not one of those who say art belongs to everybody, it should be free. Artists do art to express themselves, but more importantly to earn money. This is how they pay their bills. However, it can be made more accessible for everybody. We know that finances matter hugely when it comes to form of entertainment and recreation. Not everyone can go to Disneyland, not everyone can sit in an opera house or watch Hamilton, okay? Even if they want to. Accessibility is key when it comes to any form of art. I honestly think that if I had to spend 500 plus bucks per book, then I would be reading as many books that I do read right now, because you do get some amazing deals on Kindle Unlimited and things like that. But if I had to pay full price for every single book, then I would subconsciously buying a lot less. All of my hauls would be limited to the book fairs where you have like some exceptionally nice deals, or thrifted books, or some second-hand stores, which I honestly don't get to go that often. Originally, books were hand-sewn. They were rare and expensive, and therefore limited to the upper classes only. And I mean like really upper classes, like royals and lords and shit like that. However, Gutenberg changed all of that when he invented the printing press. This invention was still far from making books accessible to everyone, but it drastically reduced the monetary requirement to purchase a book. In Germany, around 1440, goldsmith Johannes Gutenberg invented the printing press, which started the printing revolution. A single Renaissance printing press could produce up to 3,600 pages work day. So the original hand copying or hand printing could produce a maximum of 40 pages per day. But his invention could produce 3,600 pages per day, which mechanization leads to cost reduction in almost all sectors, so it happened with books as well. Now coming to the second point, the ability to read. Sure, books are cheaper now. The now I'm referring to is like the 15th century when the printing press was invented. So now the books are cheaper, but there's still one more privilege you need, other than coin of course, to enjoy a book, which is the ability to read. The peasants were too busy chasing away robbers and paying taxes to the lords to think of schooling. But even today, a lot of people can't read, and you might presume that it is because of literacy, which is definitely a factor, but some people simply cannot read because of a variety of issues. They could have attention disorders, dyslexia, could fall on the autism spectrum, have eyesight problems, have arthritis, which makes it hard to hold the book. By the way, right now I am loving my audiobooks, because for the past 1 week I haven't held a book, but I've not stopped reading because I have my tablet, which is so much easier to hold because I can just use it like this and use the keys to just turn the pages over, or I can use my audiobook by just putting on some headphones. In any case, the people who cannot hold a book or can't read a book, who are we to decide that they are not real readers? Because that is what you do, right? If someone is not reading a hardback or a paperback, you just call them not real readers. Suppose someone has both literacy, money, no physical disorder. Then what is the most precious element left in today's society? Time, of course. There's literally hundreds of people telling me, oh, you have time, that's why you can read books and review them. I have a job, so I can't read that much. I have a 9-hour work shift, so I know that reading requires time that you have to make for in a day. But guess what? Instead of listening to some RJ prank a caller on your commute, you could listen to Gandalf taking Bilbo away on an adventure. Sure, the roads in your city ain't no Shire, but you can at least pretend to be on the journey with them. You can find out who Dr. Lecter's next meal is when you chop onions in your kitchen and pretend that that slice of chicken is the flesh of your enemies. Third point, adapting with the times. The detractors often claim that ebooks are quote-unquote not real books. Suppose someone time traveled from the 14th century and attacked a paperback purist that those pieces of mechanically produced paper glued together with synthetic adhesive is not a real book. Only handwritten words on papyrus or parchment or sheepskin or any other ancient form of writing sewn together with thread and bone, that is a real book. Or someone from the 1920s appeared today and said, you're watching that cinema on your phone, that's not real cinema. That cinema only exists in projector and black and white theater reels. Otherwise, it's not real cinema. Yeah, that's exactly how absurd you sound when you say that ebooks aren't real books. Say Kindle readers are not real readers. Is the proof of being a good or a real reader only color-coordinated bookshelves that look pretty on Instagram? The idea that real reading is only displayed through decorated, often expensive settings or pictures brings me to the next point, class and privilege. And you will notice that I do like to talk about class and privilege a lot because it really does affect all aspects of our life, even if we want to pretend in this capitalistic world that it does not matter. Anyone can be a billionaire if they just worked hard enough, or class has never affected you personally because, oh my god, no one has ever discriminated to you because of your class, because yeah, that's exactly how class and privilege works. So you can't deny that it does not exist because it hasn't happened to you. Like literally all other forms of art, the written word is also corrupted by class. And my mother is watching cricket out there, so if you ever hear any noise, that's probably that. Yeah, my mother is a huge cricket fanatic. Anyway, as I was saying, like all forms of art, the written word has also been corrupted by the class system. I have expressed my opinions about class system and genre hatred, but even with ebooks and audiobooks, the idea is quite relevant, and you may never realize that you have done it, but there is a high chance that you have at one point of your life shamed someone or joked to someone about not spending enough money on their books. Because I've seen people do that and they don't even realize that they're doing it. If someone is bragging about how they own everything from a Game of Thrones to Fire and Blood in hardback and collectible covers, and therefore that makes them a more valid reader than someone who has only read the ebooks. Yeah, we all have seen that person, right? Who just lets you know that they are a more valid reader because they read a book which you've read in ebook in hardbacks. So they are, in a way, by claiming that the book that you read for 1,000 rupees and that person read for say 250 is not a real reader. So if someone who is poorer than them, they do not deserve to be called readers because they don't have any collectibles in their home. Gatekeeping who can or cannot be called as real readers based on the kind of book material they can afford is extremely classist and elitist. And lastly, even if I drown the Karl Marx who was swimming throughout this rant, if someone has class, privilege, the money to afford books, the space in their home to have pretty bookshelves, literacy, no physical problems, everything, they can still choose to read whatever the duck they want. It's simply a matter of preference. I or you or anyone should not have to justify why they're reading an ebook or listening to an audiobook. No dear, you don't need to justify. It's simply a matter of preference. How hard is that to understand? I love black, so I generally wear black clothes. I love lip color, so I wear the brightest colors possible. I don't need to justify why I do this. I just do it because I do it. Now, personally, I don't do paperbacks as much as I used to for 3 small reasons. Personally, I need at least 3 books with me at any given point of time because I am very flaky. So I need to have options, in case I go through a reading slump, I can just change the book. If I get stuck with a book that I cannot finish, then that whole week will be wasted because I will not have anything else. And carrying multiple books is easiest to do on a tablet or a smartphone or a Kindle. And again, sorry, I missed this point in my economy or finances section, that for ebooks you don't even need to have an actual Kindle device. You can just download the Kindle app, or you can use Google Play Books or iBooks on your phone, your smartphone. I mean, almost everybody has smartphones. So I said almost everybody. Yeah. And another point for my finances section again, you don't have to pay for your books every month with things like Kindle Unlimited or Audible membership. You pay like 150 rupees per month and you get 1 free book. So yeah, that's a pretty incredible deal. And there's so many open sources. I'm not suggesting book piracy, of course, but there are open sources for things like classics and stuff, which are now in the public domain, which you can obviously access through a number of websites, which is also a good way for you to brush up on your classics. So, coming back to the 3 reasons why I personally don't do paperbacks as much. First, done. Second is I need to make notes and highlights while I'm reading. I can't do that with paperbacks. It will be a mess. And if you're a book purist, you know how much you would hate if someone had a book which was more notes and highlights than the actual text of the book. But with my Kindle or Google Play Books or iBooks, I can simply add notes through voice commands, add highlights, basically go crazy. I have notes like, no, when a character dies. I'm a messy reader, don't judge me please. Pretty please. Also to protect my shelf from overcrowding, this is pretty self-explanatory. And also I've been through the pain of losing all your paperbacks when there was a termite attack at my parents' house. I've spoken about this a lot this year because I have been living away from home, but this year because of the pandemic I'm back and I'm feeling the full force of it that I come into my room and all of my books are gone. I've just very few left. I've 30 or 40 books left. All of them are just gone. Termites ate them. So yeah, this very long video is now finally coming to an end. Why you should validate e-reading or audiobooking, and I just made them into verbs because why not? As well as hardbacks and paperbacks, it's because it's economical, it's easier to carry, it's easier to access, it gives you a chance to multitask, at least audiobooks do. And yeah, I cannot cook in silence, I cannot clean in silence, so I need to have something running in the background. So instead of say How I Met Your Mother that I'm listening to, and I'm saying listening to because it's always in the background, I'm not actually watching, for the 600th time, I could be listening to Daphne du Maurier, which is the current audiobook I'm reading or listening. I'm still not clear on the terminology. Describe the beautiful and haunting Gothic mansion in Rebecca. I prefer to choose the latter. And since I have a membership, I can get, again, but having a membership is also about class and privilege. Did I just undo my whole video? No, but it's not as buying a brand new book worth 7,000. Okay, there are books on Audible, by the way, which are thousands of rupees worth, but with the membership you can get them for free. I mean, you get one book a month and you can just choose any book, even if it's thousands worth, which you would not be able to afford for real. You can just get it from there, for free, for 150 rupees at least, not entirely free. Yeah, so don't let anybody shame you for not being a real reader. If you love a story, if you love an author, if you love a book, if you love reading, if you love getting lost in a story, if you like escaping into another world, you are valid, your choices are valid. But whether you're reading on a cheap smartphone, or whether you're reading a hardback, or whether you're someone from the 1500s and choose to read parchments and papyruses. So, or better yet, if you're someone who likes to read clay tablets, because tablet reading isn't real, but clay tablets, that's the real shit. Anyway, I think my rant is over now, but it wasn't rant, it was dedication, wasn't it? If you hated it, give it a thumbs down. If you loved it, give it a thumbs up. If you don't agree with me, if you agree with me, and if you think I should dial down the Marxism in the next video, also let me know, which probably won't happen, but hey, you can try. I will see you next time and have a nice day.